السلام عليكم، مساكم الله بالخير ويا هلا وسهلا فيكم في SDAIA هب، حلقة جديدة نتكلم فيها عن الذكاء الاصطناعي والمدن الذكية، ترابطهم مع بعض وبإذن واحد أحد حيكون شيء ممتع من المعلومات اللي بنحصل عليها. رحبوا معاي بالدكتورة جيوفانا كارنيفالي، الإكزيكتيف دايركتور اوف أوربان بلانينج at روشن جروبس. تفضلوا.
شكرا.
First of all, doctor, let us start with the perspective of a smart city from your own personal vision. What's a smart city?
Well, smart cities, as I previously explained to some of the friends, it's a concept that is quite outdated for me. And then not only for me, for many of the people that are in my own field in terms of planning and construction, and in general also technologies. So it's a concept that was born in 2005, so almost like 20 years ago, 19. And it was born to react to some needs of the cities. Then if you imagine that the cities was settled 6 centuries ago,
Yes.
at least. So, and the situation is the same. I mean, the problems that we had at that moment are the same that we are living now. So we need to live, we need to work, we need to go around in the public space, no matter which kind of mobility. At that time were horses. Now we have, not only cars, but probably autonomous vehicle. And we have the problem of the waste, the energy, all the problem of production, economy. So in that moment, 2005, the concept of smart city was born to say, okay, let's find a reaction, how we can solve all these issues that became really like complex in a city. Because if you see a city as a layer of factors, we have the layer of infrastructure, the layer of mobility, the layer of housing, the layer of productivity, the layer of the energy production, the layer of waste management. So all these layers are intertwined together, and they create more and more like a system that has to coexist together. And in that moment, the technology, we said, let's use technologies to react to all these problems that we are living, and the cities are tackling right now. So 2000 years, so we are now in a different century, and then the problem of Anthropocene area is facing us, and then we need to deal with the issues that like the climate change situation, the rise temperature, also the rise sea level approach. So we have some problems that are really beyond any kind of factors that human being as producing on a daily basis. Actually, these are the consequence of what we have produced over the last, after the Industrial Revolution. At that moment, we needed really to say how we can face it and how can we react upon of it. And that was the concept of smart city. So let's find technologies that help to react to these problems. Now, if you ask me, let's talk about smart cities, then I would stand up and go. Because I think now we are really like in an era in which we really need to try to learn from technologies. Or I would say technologies need to learn from us. So that's why I prefer to say, is it a cognitive city? We are in a cognitive area in which we need to teach well AI to talk properly to us in order the AI to learn and shape everything according to our needs.
Oh, brilliant. And when it comes to this era that we're living now, technology is at its peak. So when it comes to the utilization of technology into urban smart cities or making cities smarter and better, how do you find the adaptation of technology in that perspective?
Well, technology is fundamental and more up to be even scary. And then there is an ethical problem, but we might talk later about that probably. Technology, it's a tool that we cannot live without. And then we are constantly with our smartphone, and actually it's like a continuation of our arm. And then if we lose the smartphone, we are lost. Sometimes, unfortunately, even when we meet all together, and even around at the dining table, each one of us is texting his own messages and maybe sharing a picture of nice dinner having with someone, in which finally we don't even talk because we use technologies to connect with other people everywhere in the world. So yes, technology is fundamental, but let's look at the positive side of it. So we need to put people at the center of the universe, and that's what Roshn is doing as well. So we really want to engage citizens and our users. The final people that are living in the homes, in the houses, and try to learn from what they need. So technologies help us, I mean, to understand the way even we manage our waste, probably.
Yes.
So we have sensors that provide inputs and data to understanding how your behavior is. So how often you're going to throw your trash in the bin. So then hence how often we need to bring the car and then to the community and then make sure that, community is empty. So, the trash are always clean. And this is something that in Roshn we are doing. Also, for example, the management of the energy system grid. Also, we try to predict. That's again, cognitive is prediction, and then smart is reaction. So we want to predict, for example, how the weather is going to be. Probably it's going to rain. Actually, probably this weekend is going to rain. So we might not irrigate anymore for these incoming days because we have a prediction of forecast. We have a prediction also how often you need to irrigate, for example, your garden, or how often you use your gray water. So this prediction enables anyone, any planners, and even in Roshn to make more efficient the uses of resources that we have at our disposal. So in this case, technology welcome because it makes our life easier, as you say.
No, definitely. Now, it does make our life easier, and a trendy technology these days that everybody's talking about and not a lot of people know exactly how to utilize is artificial intelligence. When it comes to AI, first of all, from your perspective, how important is AI, as well as can AI play a good role in smart cities?
Oh, yes, definitely, yes, because we can not only use AI as a data-driven. So, we need to use data in order to understand which situation we have in our cities. So, which kind of traffic do we have? How often do we have the traffic in which part of the cities? And how, for example, again, I think the uses of the energy in the city and the uses of the waste management is fundamental, because if you bear in mind that the 70% of the full waste that is produced in the world comes from the cities, and 2/3 of the full energy consumed in the world comes from the city, it's a lot. So if we know how to deal with this, it's a big achievement for us, because we can also convey the energy somewhere else, or we can also use the waste indifferently. So if AI allows us to learn more from the citizens and then from communities, and understanding when do they need to have their lunches or dinner, or when the traffic is moving, where are the peak hours? Talking from planning perspective, but now also in the home. So I've been last year in Korea,
okay.
And this is a technologies we're applying also in Roshn, by the way, in the house. So, and there are houses completely biomotic, and the AI, the fridge, is learning from you. How often? Probably I'm taking, for example, every morning like oat milk with cereals, and then if I constantly have that every morning without traveling, I know that at the 4th day I need to change my brick. So the fridge will tell me, and then the fridge is in contact already with Tamimi in order to make sure that I will have another bottle of another brick of oat milk in front of my door. So, and that is the AI, how learn from us and our uses, our behaviors, or yeah.
Nice. And twice in this answer, you did use the term learn, the word learn. And learning as a process within AI takes time.
Yeah.
So if we're realistically thinking about applying AI to smart cities, it will take time for us to get to a good result, as well as putting in perspective human behavior and how it changes. So would it ever be an actual smart city with AI, or can we speed up this process? Can we make it any better? What you're doing in Roshn?
It's a very good question. It's a very tricky question, actually. Yep. So I let me answer through two parallel
Please.
ways. Well, consider that when we are talking about cities, AI, the incredible amount of data that we have, it's impressive. It's unbearable. Imagine like all the phone companies, HTC, or any other phone company that is managing our data. I don't have my phone here, it's each one of you. They know perfectly what you like, what you don't like, which kind of apps you have, where do you move, how fast do you go, which kind of car even you have. Yes. So yes, they learn very fast. If you're talking about the big scale, the learning process is it's like exponentially, I would say. At the same time, this is the second parallel way of answering to you, is that it is true that architecture and urban planning is a very slow process, very slow. So always when we think about a project, when you say, I need to make a project means in Latin, pro, and jectare means throw something at once. So think ahead what you want to have. So you need to think about the desire of what people want and make sure that it's going to be in a X time. That normally is the time that you need to make the project and build it. And normally, I would say in Europe at least, here is a fast-track project country, but in Europe at least the average it takes between 10 to 12 years to realize a project, one building.
Wow.
So it's one generation. So yes, it's not so fast.
Now, on that topic, if you're talking about one generation, 10 years takes that project, but when you're in a community such as Saudi Arabia, you're talking about kind of 70% youth. Adaptation of technology is extremely fast and rapid.
Yes.
Will that improve that equation and make it even better for us to adopt and get smarter cities closer?
Well, I mean, the average of here in Saudi Arabia, the average age is 23 years old. So it's amazing. Like the last census that was published last year. So it's extremely young. I mean, I'm a grandmother probably of all of you. But I would say that given the fact that we are building communities, in Roshn, for example, we have a land bank of 200 million square meter of land that Barcelona, for example, is only 45. And then we are building in Greenfield, meaning that, and then the average of age is 23. And then each one of you using technologies. So yes, I mean, if you just make the comparison, make your own numbers. I think we need to use this moment to build communities and cities as laboratories for developing properly AI.
Perfect. Developing properly AI, especially in ways that will make it more sustainable. We can preserve sources, especially if we're talking about water, for example, as one of the examples. But thinking out loud as well as from your expertise, how can we put AI into play when it comes to preservation of water and the utilization of water in smart cities? How can we put AI into it?
Well, AI, as I said, it's a learning process.
Yes.
So it's a predictive. So that's why I prefer to talk about prediction rather than reaction. So in this case, as I said, the water management system is a part of the different layers that, as in Roshn, we need to manage in order to have a better, let's say, efficient way system in general, also for our waste management grid, because all the water that we have in our communities are recycled and then used, I mean, for public realm irrigation. And that's why if we know how often the citizens are used to irrigate their plants, how often, for example, put drains, and then how often, I mean, they use the normal behavior of people, that is it's a way that comes from the sensor and then the data driven to plan properly, for example, the water management in the company, in the community.
Brilliant. And then if we apply those systems, we can get to good goals, as in saving energy, saving water, saving those resources. Now, there in that equation by itself, humans, if they're responsible for their water at home fully, they can think about how to preserve water, they can do some actions as well. They're not extremely as good as machines at doing the job. So is automation and adopting AI with automation and taking the responsibility of humans can make smart cities smarter and more efficient?
Yes.
How? How would a human give away all those?
I said, yes. I mean, technically, yes, you can. Now, shall
Is it the right thing to do?
Shall we allow that the machine takes over for everything?
Well, I mean, from my perspective, as a very extreme gadget geek kind of a person, I would say I get more extra time for myself to do better stuff.
Yes, true.
And machines will take over.
Correct. I mean, there are some, okay, don't get me wrong. I tell you, the reason why behind this, yes, there was a silence, because I was thinking so many things are parallel. So yes, because we can devote our time to something much more worth it than going and irrigate your garden. That's true. We can use our time better rather than go to the supermarket and buy the brick of the oat milk that normally I use in the morning. True. We can really optimize our time and focus on really what we want. Now, the risk is, and has been so many movies that I think you might have seen also since over the last decades, let's say, how is going to be our life with all these completely automated world in which all the services will be provided by machine and not by humans. And this is one of the risks that I see as the extrematization of AI. That there are some companies, big giants like Google, like Amazon, like IBM, Apple. They are really clearly, in a very subtle way, trying to inject this way of thinking and using AI everywhere. It's their interest because it's their private interest, because they manage data, they manage information, and hence they manage power, and they know better how to access you and to get the best out of you economically and psychologically. So it is a big risk in that sense.
From that perspective, now, if we're talking about humans, usually we're driven by action, we're driven by utilization. We like to, minimizing the whole equation, we like to save money to get more done as well as to be more efficient. Same 2 points. But the thing is, if we tie the automation as well as AI adoption to the benefit of humans, breaking it down to saving money, getting more done, don't you think humans will much more appreciate adaptation of AI as well as getting into smart cities that have perfect data to run those cities?
No, definitely. If I think probably a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, in Roshn, we launched a system with a robot that is sharing and is bringing the food to you. So in Cedra, it's our flagship project now. We have a little robot, so they bring you food home. So it's lovely because, you need to keep your door open, otherwise you crash. But apart of that little detail, the rest, you save time. You don't go to the supermarket, you go to the restaurant. Yes. The robot is coming to you, and then it's a big success. Yes, we need to drive. That the key probably is really how to drive properly the AI and the learning process system in those fields that we know that they are okay for us. They're not super, probably, maybe ethically also dangerous.
And for a young community of Saudi Arabia, adaptation of, or letting go of some of the restrictions of the past, as well as adaptation for more rules and regulations of smart cities adopted by AIs or driven by AI would be possible. And you'll find
I think in general, there is no clear definition of the legal terms of using AI general in the worldwide. So it's very complicated because Bill Gates, for example, I was reading a newspaper in New York Times probably last weekend that even Bill Gates is pushing with OpenAI. The fact that how much OpenAI with ChatGPT, they can also even go even further and have a even better machine learning from all of us. So we need also to learn how to talk to ChatGPT in order to have a better results. And there is no, so far, a policy framework or a limitation for this. So
I respect hence, that. You're realistic about it. I admire that you're realistic about the whole adaptation. But still, if we have enough data from other cities around the world, a smart city from Europe that adopted AI in a very good sense, and then this smart city became an icon. Can it be, from a community perspective, same data apply here?
No, because each one of us, not even from the, if you think about Saudi Arabia, it's divided by 4 regions.
Yes.
And in Tabuk, you live in a different way than Nasir. So I don't know. And then even communities by themselves are living a different way. So that's why, the machine learning and the AI is really for customizing the way we live in each of the communities. But each community, the way you live in your building is different from the way we live even in Kaft. So, yeah, it's very personalized. Now, there are some common grounds, that for sure. That for sure. I mean, there are some common way of, the way we live in general. We always go to work and then sleep and eat and then, enjoy and then have a social life. That is the base of everyone. Mobility is also a common ground for everyone, which is a very interesting topic within AI concept. But nowadays, AI is precisely to personalize and customize the way we live.
And the research that you've been doing to apply urbanization as well as smart cities in Saudi Arabia, what interesting, let's say, behaviors struck you in our society?
What precisely the question is?
Behaviors in your research that got you of interest because they're different than other communities.
Well, I would say that the funny thing is that there are some common patterns in the behaviors between different, I wouldn't say communities, but the way we live in Saudi Arabia, I would say, yes, is different from the way we live in Europe. But there are some, even though, especially from between young generations, there are some common trends that they can be predictable as well, and then you can use AI in a more spread way. That's why I'm thinking about these big multinationals that they really want to spread the AI system through their apps with each one of your telephone. Even Apple just delivered one.
Amazing.
For this.
Now, when it comes to adaptation, what role does citizen engagement as well, and awareness play in achieving urban sustainability and energy efficiency goals?
It's a very academic question. I have very little to say with the AI. I think we have much more consciousness now than before on terms of sustainability and use better our resources and then have a better, let's say, society that is much more sensitive to the environment. That for sure. And I think even between, all of you, I think you have the same consciousness that we have. Probably you have higher consciousness that probably my old generation has in that sense. And I think the fact, what is worrying, or maybe we need to be very mindful in general, if we want to have a better society, a more sustainable environment, a better city through the AI, and coming back to that, yes, we share our data. Yes, we share our information, but how far do we share our data? How far are we, I would say, open to share our privacy to help and support the AI? And how far do we want to go? And how far, your limits are? I think this is a question that I would like to apply to all of you. Because there are companies, I would say even names or names, even Samsung, they give for free housing to any kind of generation, and they did it in the south of the South Korea. And this house is for free for you, for each one of you, for any generation, any age, any type of family, anybody. I give you for free, but at the contrary, you give me your old data. So I put sensors everywhere, even in the toilet. So data is power. The information is power. So, and of course, for them, for Samsung, is to create a better and more sustainable environment. And this is something that in Roshn we don't want to go so far in that sense. Definitely not. But yeah.
But it's a key pillar of creating smart cities, getting enough data. And if you don't have enough data and collection of data, how can you speed up the process?
It's impossible. You need to have data for sure. Data, it's a data system way of working in any way, starting from the smart cities and now with this AI and cognitive cities, I would say, even more than before. Now, it is very important, for example, the use of data for when we're talking about transportation. Because you can predict the traffic and you can even predict if it's well developed, like the system in which you have autonomous vehicles and then the vehicles can talk to each other. So you will avoid traffic, you will avoid, even crashing between cars, you will avoid inconvenient situations. But yes, you are completely at the hands of the technology. So
interesting.
It's also challenging.
Oh, yeah, definitely there's a challenge in that, especially when it comes to such communities that want to adopt it without enough data to make that adoption happen.
No, it's difficult.
Definitely. Now, if we're talking about the key challenges and obstacles that smart cities are likely to face when it comes to adopting AI and let's say technologies and to become smart cities now and in the near future.
The challenges of I think one of the challenges is really the accumulation of this data, because there will be a moment, I'm sure, in life that there will be like either from the government perspective, but I really do believe that the public meaning government, cities, municipalities are the only actors that really make the public interest of the people. So, and I do believe, I really hope that there will be a moment in which they will put a stop or a limitation, a strong limitation through a legal system on the fact that of the usage of data. Another challenge that I see on the AI is the fact that now I want to challenge all of you. If you put two pictures, one in front of the other, and then I challenge you to say what is real and what is fake. What is AI done by Midjourney and what is the other one done is a real picture. I challenge all of you that you wouldn't know. There was a WordPress photo award last year, and then, believe it or not, it was awarded like a photo of like two ladies. One, probably the one behind was the mother. You can check, type in WordPress photo 23, you will see the picture. So the mother and the daughter, apparently, the face were really, you don't know pretty much whether they're really feminine or not. And with a strange, attitude in their face and then, way of looking. And faded behind, so you don't know you don't know very well the context. Well, it was Midjourney. And then WordPress photo, it's one of the most renowned awards of pictures and photos taken from journalists. So, that is also when in Roshn or anywhere, we're working with consultants, we're working with architects, and we ask, okay, please present a project about a community, and then present like a building that they've never seen before. Just tell me, what do you think? This is the context, this is the environment, these are the constraints, what do you think? And then finally you see beautiful, such appealing images, so nice and so, wow, like a breathtaking. And then finally you know that it's done by Midjourney. So what is true? What is fake?
How that can be fixed? How can that be fixed from your perspective so that you see it and say, yes, it's AI, but I do accept it?
Amigo. Well, I think as an architect, as a planner, and as a developer, I would say the limit is when you say, is it buildable? Because beautiful images can be everywhere. I have an Instagram, within Instagram, I'm following Midjourney. So I don't know who did it, but I follow Midjourney. It's a program, but maybe it's self-generating images by itself and self-searching for followers. But the images are amazing. But I think the discrimination point will be when, is it really feasible? As an architect, I would say, is it really, can we build it? And then if it's so, how expensive is to build it? And how much challenge do we have to build it?
So putting the human touch into it.
Yeah, no, the rationale, I would say. Not the human touch, but the rationale we are living still with the law of Newton, in which you put, you take an apple and then you let it fall down and then it's falling down. So let's see how real is this project and then how costly is this project. And that's, we come back to reality.
I like the term rationale, that you put the rationale into it to make it legit. It can be done, it's realistic, and there are,
yes,
proper challenges into it. Now, this takes me to an interesting question with ethical considerations when it comes that should be made when implementing AI in smart cities.
The ethical part of it.
Yes.
It's the fact that I think it's the using of the personal data, to me, is very ethical issue.
Yes.
Really ethical issue, because they know everything about you and about us, not only you, myself as well included. So how much privacy do we have left? If you remember there are many movies, from the past, and Steven Spielberg, even, you have a third eye constantly watching at you. And we are not completely conscious of it. But even if you think about ethically, if you take your phone, you put it on the table, you start talking about, I made many times these exercise with friends, you start talking about silly thing, like whatever, anything. We did on purpose by talking about silly thing. We're talking about typical food that you can find only in Italy, precisely. And then you open Google, and guess what? Google send you like advertising or messages according to that precise topic. They listen at you. It's scary. So this is very ethical, because yes, you can have a customized life, you can have everything, as you said, robots everywhere, they bring you food, they can make your life easier. What is the cost?
Exactly.
That's very ethical. And also the ethical issues of what is real, was not real. Is it ethical? I think, I don't know. I think we are living we're starting to live in a world in which we don't know what is real or not. Even when you show a beautiful house that you are going to sell, look at the landscape and, a beautiful pictures. But then finally, when you go to reality and say, is it what I chosen? It's, yeah.
There's a part with the adaptation of AI that is as well human-centered. If I explain this from my perspective. Now, in an actual example on Earth now, these days, with the whole technology revolution that we're living, each one of the individuals here do have a smartphone. If that smartphone has AI in it, AI will not instantly start giving you suggestions and working with you. It will learn from your usage upon a week, 2, 3, then it will become customized to yourself. That means that most of the people using AI-powered devices will have their device perfectly customized to their AI needs, or to their needs based by AI with time. Can we scale this and say that cities and communities and small smart cities can be different in what AI have they applied into those cities, depending on the communities living in those cities, and they will evolve? Even if we're talking about the same area such as Riyadh, different smart cities, different AI evolved in each of those cities, depending on the people living in it.
Absolutely, yes. You will have a different cognitive cities everywhere. Absolutely, yes, because cities, again, is a prediction, it's not a reaction. So the technology will help to predict the way when you go out to work, when do you normally go for groceries, when do you bring your kids to school, at what time do you have a dinner or lunch, or what time do you go to bed? And then from the house, within your house, maybe they switch on the light precisely when you go to home to sleep, or maybe they switch off, or they give the bricks of the milk, they provide it immediately in the fridge without you knowing it. So absolutely, yes, that is the role of probably if you ask what is the future of urban planning within AI, is really, it's for one side is wonderful, because we use all this data system to predict and plan in advance on let's say, on the system, any kind of planning, any kind of cities. So even now within Roshn, we started to work with GIS and a specific platform in which we have consultants from all over the world. They are around, let's imagine that this table is the 3D model in which I have my community. And then I have probably you are a master planner in LA. And then you guys are probably here in KSA in Riyadh, and then you are the final users all around this 3D model. And then I can even take one building and move from one side to the other, and then see the impact that move will generate in terms of density, in terms of pollution, in terms of contaminations in general, in terms of waste management, in terms of densities, everything. So, and this will help to predict the way the city will behave, even in the traffic. So how the city will respond if I create another financial center.
Nice.
Which kind of traffic will generate? How many citizens? But if I move this tower from here to here, so what is the impact? in at all the, remember I told you before that the cities is done by different layers. So how this layer will behave if I move this. So in that sense, AI, it's a wonderful, it's an incredible, beautiful machine that I'm really personally happy to live in this area to use it. I mean, to be one of the first ones using it, then you guys, I mean, you'll be much more advanced by that time. And then and it will be even much more wonderful. I mean, really beautiful to work with in that sense.
With that futuristic thought,
yes.
Are you willing to make AI make decisions that force you to go other directions that you prefer because it's for the better of the AI community?
I think, again, then the ethical way. So I think we need to force AI to put the data in order to have the right to enhance the quality of life of people.
Gotcha.
And to make the life more easier. Now, you never know where the limit is. So I hope and I trust that whoever works, especially in the planning perspective, or especially in municipalities, and again, in government, in cities, in the public sector, I really hope that these people know that they need to work on behalf of the community, on the citizens, God, you know, not in the bed. So also we at Roshn, we have an extremely responsibility in that sense, ethical responsibility as well.
Absolutely, because of the people who are in the command control center, if they play with the metrics and make saving money as a cost, as a high metric with a priority, that will be reflecting negatively with the whole adoption of AI and will be forcing the community to go maybe another way that they don't like to save money.
There is always a chance like that, yes. We need,
What's the balance?
Sorry?
What's the balance?
The balance is always money, no? I mean, money driven. The money is the first factor we need to consider in general, which is not, that's what we are struggling all the time with Roshn, because we need to provide a housing that must be affordable for young generations as well. But at the same time, we cannot limit the customization, and we cannot limit also the quality of the space that we provide. So, yeah, we need to use the technologies always with that limit of balance.
Definitely. There are concerns. There are a lot of positive ideas for the adoption. But if we can talk about the lessons that you learned from applying all those smart cities that can be initiatives into accepting smart cities and going forward. What lessons can you tell us about?
Well, I think in general, it's a process that is irreversible. So we cannot bring forward the smart cities. There's already so much happening, and then we are already even beyond. I keep saying about smart cities that I think is an inevitable process. Lesson learned, we need to really use more carefully the data in general and trying to, I think so. I think the most important factor for me is the usage of the data and the privacy of the citizens, of people in general.
What's the best place for Dr. Giovanna to live in, city or country?
Cities for
Why?
sure. I do not believe in country. I believe in cities. Because we live in cities. Because cities are the places where the transformations happen faster. Cities are the places in which any kind of reaction of your behavior are seen or reflected. Cities are really like the engine of economy, and they are literally the laboratory of the way we live. So country is more for me is more political.
Oh,
a country. For me, countries are more political.
Going to the countryside, I mean.
Oh, sorry. I thought between country.
I wanted to relax.
City.
Still. Wow. Where do you go to relax?
City. No, I'm joking. No, I would relax in a Mediterranean island there, Menorca. But no, city is the place I would like to live by far. I'm a city animal in that sense. But because also of my work, to be honest.
True. But there got to be those moments that you want to run away from the city.
True.
Okay.
In order to come back and enjoy more. But the only thing, I mean, really, seriously, I'm not joking now. I do because I'm laughing, but I'm serious because it's so city for me is the place to live. Now, if I really want to disconnect, I go to in the middle of the sea because of my mindset, my training. Because it's everywhere I go, I keep thinking because I'm an urban planner. So wherever I go in the public realm, I start looking at the wide of the streets and the height of the building and how much is how many trees do we have or not. If I'm in the middle of the sea and I start sailing, I have 2D. I have a 2D dimension. And then that's the only place in which I can disconnect.
You've been living in Riyadh for more than 4 years.
Yeah.
What do you like about Riyadh?
The energy, the spirits that you have, the youth, and the way of changing life.
The way of changing life?
Yes.
Can you elaborate?
Because you believe, and this is the only country in the world, now coming back to where the cities or country in terms of policies, but is the only country in the world that believe deeply and really honestly that we can change the way we live and we can make it better. I mean, wouldn't be, and not because now in front of you and because of many other people, it's a detail, but I always say to my friends and my family, there is no other place in the world right now in which I would like to live.
With the adaptation of AI and smart cities, what points or things or behavior that you will never try to change in Riyadh?
The energy, the people, all of you guys. I mean, it's the youth and the positive spirits that you have. Look, Saudi Arabia has invested 100 billion SAR in AI. And then I think almost like 70% of the 96 targets for 2030 are based in AI. So you invest a lot in this. And I want to be part of those dreamers and part of these makers, city makers, and that will help to shape the future of the cities which we live, starting from here. Because it's an incredible opportunity because most of the city, we have a giga projects that never happened ever in the world so far, and then they are here in KSA. So it's really the place of experimentation and laboratories that if it works here, it become incredible good example to export abroad. So yeah, no better place to stay.
Thank you, Doctor. Allow me to move to some of the questions of the people attending. Any question, if I kindly ask? Fadal?
Why is it still considered unethical to share the data when it's just numbers, zeros and one mostly? So there's no name, there's nothing on it.
Perfect. Yes, if you look at the sense, you're right. You are an algorithm. So if you share your localization with the app, wherever where you are in a city, finally, I mean, you are an algorithm working in a city. But your data, your numbers plus your number, my number, the other number, from a telephone company, for example, perspective, they will get the data as how many people goes to that place, how fast do they walk or drive, and then in which time of the day, of the evening they go. And then maybe this is a good data that allows me to put more retails, to put more commercial, to have a more, I don't know, interest, or to put advertising over there, because I know there are many people going there, for example. So it doesn't affect you directly. But it affects the mass psychologies of the masses.
All right. Now, as an extension for that question, if I get an advertisement because of the utilization of the data, well, that's cool. I'm getting new offers.
Of course. You get richer. You have better clients.
So it's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win. Yeah, well, I mean, true.
It's hard to keep
up.
But
of course, I mean, it's a different type of generation for sure. But I mean, definitely, probably you don't care so much about sharing that number or that, localization path in your GIS system to the telephone company. But, well, I mean, they know where you are. They know where you live. They know with whom you are. If you don't mind, that's fine.
And this is something that I've been facing as well on social content that I've been making, as in the new generation, with all due respect, this is nice. They see it from a realistic point of view. It's just numbers. They're sharing they got our numbers to better cities, our offers. What's wrong with that? So I'm facing the whole adaptation of their perspective because for us, it's privacy. No, you should keep your information secure, hidden. But it's kind of an adaptation that should be as well put into smart cities. Don't you think?
No, look, this is wonderful. If you really think that the privacy in that sense for you guys is not a privacy and then it's a number, then definitely, I mean, AI will provide to you more positive than the negative in the sense of the ethic in that sense, probably. And it's a completely different perspective that probably the old generation have. Yes. In that sense, it's a big challenge in any way, but understandable.
So, Althani, any other questions?
Go ahead.
If I don't want to share my data in the smart cities, I have this choice or no?
Well,
Do a person, I mean, just for edits, does a person have a choice in sharing his data in a smart city?
Not completely, unfortunately.
So we cannot live there?
No, not only. I'm not talking only about Roshn. I'm talking about even in Riyadh in general now, as we live now here. I'm sure that if you look at your apps, and then, for example, if you look at the background in your system of the phone, for sure you will have at least one app that will share the localization of where you are or what you do.
But we have the choice. If we are like,
you might not.
If we don't want, we can like block this thing.
Yeah, you go to live in an island.
It's better.
With the cows and the sea, and that you don't share anything.
Yeah.
But I think it's almost inevitable now.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? تفضلي.
My question is about traffic. As now in Riyadh, we're facing traffic every day. In the smart cities, how we handle this traffic?
It's a very good question. So the traffic here is insane, by the way. Really, literally, yeah.
It's a mega city.
Eh?
It's a mega city.
Oh yeah. It's a giga. We are 8 million people, and then it's so far
heading to 10. So
heading to 10 or 12. Yeah. So yeah, it's a very, very, very good question. So the positive thing of this AI, the power of AI, the autonomous vehicles, is that they should predict the traffic, and then they should organize even the sensor on the streets, not only in the car, but on the streets. They should predict and provide the data to your car to say, hey, careful, if you leave at 1, you will get stuck in the traffic. So the data should provide you the information for you to decide what is the best moment for you to leave according to your time schedule. And then, if this happened to you, but to each one of us, then it's a way to manage the traffic differently. And then to provide also a constant speed in the streets, that rather than go and get stopped for like an hour or so. So in that sense, smart cities, the AI would play an important game in that sense. But we are at very early stages. So, I mean, there are companies like car companies, like, for example, there was Volvo that I'm coming from Milan, I'm Italian, and then there was a couple of years ago an agreement between Volvo and the city of Milan, the municipality, that's why public interest, that they agreed to use, for example, a piece of the city of Milan and to pave it with some sensors that allows you to provide you the data of how much traffic do we have in the street, and then if there is, I don't know, I don't remember now how many cars, and then below, let's say 30 kilometers per hour, then they would block, or they would make in such a way that they block the traffic in such a way that the car at least go at 40 kilometers per hour. That was an agreement between Volvo and Milan, the city of Milan. So we are, I think, at the early stages on that. But I hope in that case will help a lot.
Brilliant. Another question?
If I have 2 pictures, one of them made by AI and the other it's real picture, okay? If there's any program or project or something to know which one of them are made by AI or the real one?
If there is a program, no.
No.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it is, because if I think about the WordPress photo, the way it was understood that was AI it was because the photographer said, "Careful, it's not real."
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not through a program that says it is real, it's not real. And then for architecture, it's about the buildability.
Yeah.
So can you really build it? There are some, I mean, in Mid-Journey, that what the program I'm following in Instagram, there are some incredible cantilever like hanging from rocks, amazing, beautiful. But then I get fascinated. I mean, as an architect, I like, I mean, beautiful shapes and buildings, and I'm thinking like, but then wait a second, is it buildable? How much does cost then if it's buildable? So I think that is the coming back to reality. But I don't think, as per my knowledge, there is any program that tells you this is fake, this is real.
Okay, thank you.
Interesting enough, Doctor, there's an engine by Microsoft that can predict fake or can find out a percentage of how fake is a photo or how fake is a video. It's not for the public yet. It is being developed and, let's say, available for certain companies, of governments as well.
Okay.
Yet the interesting thing is that by request, you can request for AI content generators to generate a content that is not fake, that cannot be predicted as fake.
That's lovely.
That's
So damn, okay.
So, any other questions? حياك تفضل. الصف الأمامي.
When I say the city is smart by apply part of AI in the city, or all party of AI in the city.
Do we say that a city is smart when all of it is run by AI, or a certain category or part of the city?
Thinking it's a difficult question, because it's I would say that now almost everything is smart. I would say, especially in the new development. So maybe it's more still data-driven in terms of reaction. So, like for example, you get data, and then from that data you react on it. That's all. It's not self-learning. So only maybe a small part of it probably can be self-learning. In the new communities, yes, we are trying to have this self-learning way of managing communities and life of people by understanding and learning the waste management or the water management system of the energy grids. That for sure. But maybe now, so far, probably in small part can be like AI-driven, and then the rest can be only sensors and then reaction and then smart.
IoT-based, like, kind of.
Yeah.
Perfect. Any other questions?
Let's say if the system crashed, is there any backup plan?
Wow, what a question. It's a very, very good question. It's as if the system, crash, then I would say, how do you say apnakapna? Apnakapna?
Apnaka.
Apnakapna.
شلون؟ اتنا كبنة. اتنا كبنة. 4 years in Riyadh, and mashallah, you know اتنا
That's the
كبنة.
first thing I understood.
Impressive, by the way. Okay, it's a nakba. Nakba, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
You say?
Nakba, as in the situation itself, is a nakba.
Nakba.
Yeah.
Nakba.
It's a nakba. Nakba, yeah. Right. You want to put that as your answer?
Yeah, well, I mean, as a synthesis, yes, because I mean, if you think about, then we come back to basics. So meaning that we need to come back of the way we have been living so far, because that is the risk actually. If we base when you made the question like let's make our robots make our life easier, but then if the system crash, then I mean that's what I say.
Absolutely. What message would you give to everybody who's not yet convinced of living in a smart city, to close up with?
Well, you could say in smart cities again, but
okay,
I have
go in with that.
My problems. Yeah, sorry.
Perfect. How would you rephrase that question?
Well, which kind of message would you provide to those that are not very sympathizing on AI and predictive cities? I would say try and see how you can change the way you live. Just try. I mean, the best way is to try. As I did once, actually, I download, not talking about smart cities, but I downloaded the new application from Apple about AI, You can fine tune the tone of voice, the personality, the topic that you want to work with, you want to talk to, and I start talking to this person. I mean, this thing, and I got so scared that I deleted because it's becoming my best friend. Wow. So now try. You might like it or you might hate it, and yeah. So definitely, I mean, we are in a process that is completely irreversible. So we cannot go back.
True.
Until the system blocks or fails, probably. But I think it's inevitable to test and then to keep on going and then to have a better life through the technology.
Definitely.
But we need to be very careful in any way. Even if we are data and numbers, you are yourself. Each one of us has a personality, as a person, as a spirit, you are different from the other person. So keep it like that. And don't get involved too much by the brain of AI, because they think for you and they do and they write for you. They write theses. They can answer to essays. They can even provide the beautiful images that you don't know whether it's true or fake. And then they provide beautiful, probably, environment. And then finally, who are you and what you really want? And sometimes we don't even want to think anymore what we really want, because everything is too easy that we don't want to think anymore.
Absolutely. So I would say just one more question, if you don't mind.
One.
Only one. That's it. From your position at Roshn, do you think that early adopters and out-of-the-box thinkers, such as what you're doing in urban planning in Roshn, will have heads up in the future, and they will be makers of difference and change for a better future?
Yes. I think, early adapters, a human being has to be adaptable in any way. He's always adaptable. But the early adapters that they're willing to do so, yes, they make a change.
Definitely. So on that answer, I would say, so Dr. Giovanna Carnevali, thank you for trying to provide that change to us. Thank you so much.
To all of you, and thank you so much really for allowing me to be with you today. It's been a real pleasure, and I enjoy it a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. يعطيك العافية. So with this, we end our session with episode of SDAIA Hub, and definitely looking forward for having you again, inshallah. And definitely بإذن واحد أحد نشوفكم بإذن الله في حلقات أخرى من SDAIA Hub. يعطيكم العافية جميعا.